everyone, welcome to Inbox Cherish with Gina. So glad you're here. I have a fabulous card to show you tonight. We are going to be using some really bright, beautiful colors. I love green. Green is one of my favorite colors, so we have green. And on my craft table here are all of the items that we're going to be using today. Our stamp set that we're going to be using, this is day 3 of a series that I'm doing using the Abstract Impressions by Stampin' Up. I am an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up, and first of all, I just want to tell you guys thank you for watching my YouTube channel, but also if you have chosen me to be your Stampin' Up demonstrator, I really thank you. I know you have a choice, and for some reason you have chosen me, and just know that that is very special to me. So thank you so much. We are creating this week lots of different beautiful cards with this particular stamp set. I just love it because if you look at the stamp set, it is so unique in that it has so many different ways that you can assemble these different images. And so literally you can create hundreds of images, which means hundreds of different stamps using a single set of photopolymer stamps. When I say photopolymer, it's because the stamps themselves are made on these little see-through plastic clings, which are super easy for storage because it just stores in this little case. It almost looks like a DVD box, so it takes up very little space in your craft rooms. And they actually cling on to these acrylic blocks. And so these acrylic blocks are reusable, and they clean up very easily just with a rub on the Stampin' Up chamois, or you can use some Stampin' Up mist to clean them. So these acrylic blocks and these clings are just fabulous for all of your crafting needs when it comes to using some Stampin' Up products. Today I'm also going to be using some beautiful colors of inks. I have chosen, tonight we're going to make it easy. We are going to make it simple. Hey, it's Thursday. Terrific Thursday. And so we're going to make this simple and easy card so that way it's something that gives you ideas to do immediately whenever you find someone special that you want to give a sentiment to, whether it be a thank you card, whether it be just because you're thinking about them, whatever it is, we're going to do a card tonight that is going to be very versatile. I'm going to use Granny Apple Green stamp pad. I am going to also use the Daffodil Delight. Look at that beautiful yellow. And then another favorite for me is the Mango Melody. Those are the only 3 stamp pads that we're going to use tonight, the colors. I love the Stampin' Up ink pads, and the reason why I love them is because they last literally forever. I have some stamp pads that I've been doing Stampin' Up for probably about 20 years, and so I have Stampin' Up pads that were way back old school, and I have some from some previous years, probably about 7 years back, that I still use because they do not disintegrate. They're not like the foam stamp pads that you would get at a hobby store. They are actually just juicy ink pads that last forever. And when the ink is going away because you choose to do several different crafts with them, then what you can do is simply buy a refill ink and you just add some ink to your pad and it's as good as new again. So love Stampin' Up ink pads. Nothing like them. I have my Stampin' Up scissors, super sharp, and look at that. Look at the point on those scissors. And I don't know if you can see that, but super easy if you're doing some fussy cutting, or they are super sharp if you just want to quickly get around an image and add that to your crafties. I'm also putting out here some snail adhesive. These are our tape runners that have such great fusion that you'll be able to attach just about anything to your cards. I love to use the multi-functioning liquid glue. It's a very economical way to adhere things to your cards. I use this for just about anything: sequins, ribbon, twine, of course paper, and just love it, and it lasts for a really long time. Adding a little bit of pop to your cards is always something great, so I love these dimensionals, and I'll show you how to use those tonight. We'll use a couple of those. I am going to use my bone folder in order to make that crisp fold on our card today, and so that's a necessity for me. I'm not a fancy perfectionist when it comes to card making. I'm into making cards that just are beautiful and have character, but one thing I love is a crisp fold, and this little tool does it for me every time. One of the things that I'm going to show you tonight is what we call our Big Shot, and this little machine is just amazing. And I got to tell you guys and be honest, please no judgments. I have every single type of cutter that has probably come out on the market, and I've gotten rid of some of them, but I've also kept some of them because they've just been amazing and they serve a certain purpose in my craft room. And so I have a Cricut, which I absolutely love, and some of the times that we make cards, I am going to use some cutouts from my Cricut or some vinyl from my Cricut. But tonight, one of the other cutters that I absolutely love is the Sizzix Big Shot, and this one is purchased through Stampin' Up. Got word though just yesterday that Stampin' Up will no longer carry the Big Shot in the new catalog, which comes out in June. So if you want to get one of these, now is the time. And of course the dies are still going to be available. Now we're not going to identify them as thinlits or other types of names that we've called them. We're just going to simply call them dies. So they're still going to be in use, but we're just no longer going to have the Big Shot. Whether or not another cutting system is going to come out, I'm not sure, but as soon as our company decides to do that, you will be the first to know from me. And so tonight I want to show you what the Big Shot can do, because it's very quick, it's very easy, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to use some dies that have a little bit of stitching on the edges. And so when you get your dies, they come in this little folder, and you have all these little different sizes and different shapes. If you want to look up all that we have to offer, you can certainly go onto my online store and look at all of the versatility that we have in our dies and pick the one that's just right for you. Tonight I'm going to be using the square thinlet, and that's going to form a frame for us in the card that we are going to make. And so all I've done, I'll set that envelope aside. All I have done is taken our platform, and you just kind of make a sandwich. And I know you moms are very used to making sandwiches. So here's our platform, and I'm going to put the platform on the Big Shot. And then I have this thin die adapter, and that's not a cutting plate, it's just simply an adapter. And I'm making the sandwich, and your instructions tell you exactly how to make the sandwich. I'm going to take this apart so that way you can see how I put it together. This is one of your cutting mats, and you're going to put that down. And remember, I'm making my sandwich. I'm going to then place, oh, look at this green granny apple paper that perfectly matches our granny apple green stamp pad. We're going to be using this tonight, so I'm going to set that in my sandwich. And then I'm going to use my dies. I'm actually only going to use this particular die for the green, but hey, I wanted to show you all of the different sizes and how easy it is to cut them and what it looks like. So here's a big one. Here's a medium size one that we'll use later on Whisper white paper. And then the smallest one in this square shape. I thought, let's go ahead and get the most out of this paper. And I could probably put another one there, but for time's sake on our video, we'll just use these three. So you're going to finish off your sandwich with the second cutting pad. And what we're going to do now is we're going to simply slide the platform in, and then all you have to do is, as you slide it in, you start cranking the handle, and you just keep cranking, and you might feel a little bit of a pop because it's actually cutting your paper. So now here's my sandwich. It looks just the way that we put it in. But check this out. This is like magic to me. You take off your sandwich and voila. Look at this. Look how awesome it cut out our paper. I don't know if you could see that. I'm going to try to get it as close as possible. But it has those really nice stitched edges that just, they are going to make our card pop as we assemble it together. Because this is going to be layer 2 for us. And it is just going to look beautiful. And so the way that I did this is one side of the die is very flat. That's not the cutting side. This is the cutting side that has those ridges. And so it literally made those little stitch marks that I just showed you. And so in one simple crank of my Big Shot, I was able to make several different pieces. And that's one thing I always tell my stamping friends is never throw away a scrap piece of paper because it can always turn into something beautiful. So even this tiny little square that's left, I'm going to keep that because at some point I'm going to want a little piece of green and that's going to be the perfect piece. So I'm going to put that in my scrap file. I'm really not going to be using these two pieces, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like and how easy it is to use our Big Shot. So those are also going to go in my file to use on handmade cards later. And so now we have our green piece. It is going to be layer 2 of our card. We also want to make a white piece of framelit. And so I'm going to use the medium size that we just used, but now I want to use white. I want to use Whisper white cardstock. Those of you that are just getting started in card making, the Whisper white cardstock is one that I would always tell you to start with. Have this in your order because it's very versatile. You can use it in so many different cards in so many different ways with so many different colors of ink. So I made my sandwich. I placed my platform on my Big Shot and I'm just going to send it through here. And voila! You ready for the magic? Check this out. Absolutely perfect. And so when we get done today, we're actually going to have that be our layer 3. Now look how cute that is going to be. I love that. And so we are now done with our Big Shot. So I'm going to move all of this aside and come back and we're going to create our card. Okay, so here we have our Whisper White cardstock. I love to use the Whisper White because that's the color that I usually encourage for stamping because it's such a versatile color. And so I always want to use what you probably have on hand because I want to give you ideas on cards that you can immediately take into your own scrapbook room and recreate. And so right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold my card. Remember I said I liked those really crisp folds. And I swear I used this tool and it's like the card came hot off the press. It's so crisply folded. I don't even know if that's a word, but it's a word for me. And it just looks so professional and so beautiful. You saw me move my white paper over to my workspace. That's because I truly want to keep a clean work area. And sometimes, like you'll see in just a bit, I want to use just one stamp pad, but I want to get different types or depths of color using one stamp pad. And so sometimes I'll stamp off using my ink pads. And so what we're going to do today is I am going to make a card for someone special at my job tomorrow. I love everything about her, and she is just special to so many people. And so I just want to give her a little card for tomorrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off, I'm just going to make her a little flower bouquet. And so we're going to use the Granny Apple Green. That's going to be our first color that we're going to use. I'm also going to get the photopolymer stamp set that is the Abstract Impressions. Those of you that are going onto my online store right now, as you look at this video or shortly after, please make sure you use my host code so that way you get some freebies from me, some really cute little gifts, just as my thank you for of course, giving me your business and trusting me in being your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you use the online store, please make sure you use this host code. It is KFXWUDDN, and that will be the host code for the month of April 2019. So anytime you place an order on my online store, please use that host code so that way you get some extra nice goodies. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to use our Granny Apple Green, and I always love to stamp just on one layer of the card, and so I'm going to open that up. By the way, this card is simply an 8.5 by 11 card that I cut in half, and so just folded that up, and that is going to be our base for our card. And what I'm going to do is I am going to just stamp some ink off a little bit so that way we have different shades of green as we work. And I might need to stand up just a little bit because I am going to place this grass across my card. If you remember, I told you I am not a fussy stamper, and so if the card is not absolutely perfectly straight, I'm actually okay with that, because I don't think I've ever messed up a Stampin' Up! Card. Now, it may not have turned out the way that I intended, but I've added something to it that made it just look beautiful, and definitely not a mistake. I changed to use my bigger grass stamp, and I'm really going to ink this up because I want some dark ink placed on this card in the grass. And so I am just going to layer it. That is one other thing that I just love about Stampin' Up! Is that a lot of their stamps are intended to be layered. And so you truly can create such dimension to your cards and just beautiful images that are unique to your own style, and in this case, unique to the people that you are giving it to. Okay, so I stamped some grass. I am going to stamp some grass on this little sheet here because I'm actually going to put that on the top of my card. And so I'm going to use quite a bit. I'm going to ink up my small grass, and this is a smaller section of my card, so I'm just going to need one stamp. Well, I say that, but now that I look at it, I want some more grass. Yep. So you just keep adding until you get what you like. It's all about you and the person that you are making the card for. And so there's my grass for that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create our flower. And so I'm going to use this flower pattern using our yellow that is going to be super cute because I'm going to also create dimension with it. So I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight first. Love the Stampin' Up! Stamps because they have this hinge door. So when you close your stamp pads, it truly closes it to prevent any type of drying out. So that's another reason why Stampin' Up! Ink pads are like no other, and they last forever. So I'm going to take my ink pad and I am going to ink it up. I'm going to stamp off just a little bit of the yellow. I think I will need a little bit more ink. I took off a little bit too much. And so I just want to have some beautiful yellow flowers. On that piece. And of course we have to have some dimension. So I'm going to use my Mango Melody. I'm really going to ink that up. One of the great things about using this particular stamp set in the photopolymer is that you can actually arrange your stamps perfectly to overlay a previous stamp because they're made to be layered. Even though I'm not a perfectionist at my stamping, that I want everything lined up perfectly, it still allows me to create some alignment so that way the dimension is definitely present in my cards. I'm going to put that on there. Oh my goodness, these are such cute pink or yellow flowers. I just love these. Look at that. Just gorgeous little yellow bouquet with some grass. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to create some dimension on this card. And that's when our dimensionals come in. And there are just so many of these dimensionals on a single sheet that you're going to get so much use out of them. And so I'm just going to pop both of these, I think. Layer 1 and layer 2 on my card. Peel off the little stickies that are on the back side. And so here we go with our card. And what we want to do is add our details. So I'm going to put that right there, just a little off underneath the grass. And then I am going to stand up because I'm really into clean lines, clean straight lines. That's my weakness. Everything else can be a little off, but not the lines. Oh my goodness, this is just so cute. Absolutely love it. So here's our card so far. Isn't that cute? It is missing something, and what it's missing is our sentiment. So we want to include our sentiment. And the one that I chose for this particular card and this particular person is, if flowers were hugs, I'd send you 1,000. And so isn't that just a little nice note, letting somebody know that you're thinking about them and that you care about them? I know she is just going to love that. And I'm going to put it in, let's use Granny Apple Green again. And we'll cover up these because we're done with the yellow. And we're just really going to ink up the sentiment so it's nice and bold on our card. Lay that back down because I told you guys how I love to stamp just on one sheet of paper. And we want to line this up and place on our card. And voila. Look at how beautiful that turned out. I'm wondering, would you love to receive a handwritten card in your mailbox? I know I do. I love them. A lot of the students at my school, they give me handwritten notes, and they're truly just treasures. Just love them. I like to put something on the inside of my cards because I just feel like it's missing something if not. And so I am going to add some grass and a little flower on the inside of our card. I think that is going to look great. I said we were done with the yellow. Well, I decided to use more. We have to have a little flower in here just to give a little bit of color when we write our special note. To our special someone. And so there we go. Look at how cute that is. We have our card. We made it in the matter of minutes, and it's just super cute and ready to send out to someone that we care about and want to just give them a note that they mean something to us and that we care about them. And so I hope that I gave you some ideas. And this particular card, very easy to make. We could add a ton more to it, but I wanted to give you an idea of some cards that you could easily crank out several and pass them out the next day, that were easy to make and just absolutely adorable. So thank you for joining me tonight. Remember, if you shop my online store, reminder to use my host code. And thank you so much for visiting Inbox Cherish. We are on a 30-day challenge that we will be going on Facebook Live every day for 30 days and also coming on our YouTube channel to offer you some tutorials or some tips on using your Stampin' Up! Products. Thank each of you for allowing me to be your independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! And I promise to give you some great ideas when you visit. Please send me an email. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have any ideas on something that you would like to see, please know that you can also email me and I will try to create something wonderful that you have requested. Have a great night, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Once again, we used Abstract Impressions. We have made several different cards using this one stamp set. We have made a card that says, "There is so much to love about you." We have made another thank you card with some nice twine. All with one simple stamp pad. And so I welcome you to join us in this wonderful journey of making notes that are cherished. Love what you cherish. Good night.